Yeah, we're talking all about the heat this week for sure. Record-breaking or at least challenging temperatures starting tomorrow, and then I'll have a check at the tropics. Locally, we're quiet, but there's something to track in the Pacific in case you were planning a vacation out west. Records that are on the line this week, starting tomorrow, 101 is the forecast high, and that is the record that was set back in 1907. The record on Thursday is 102. That one was set back in 1914, and we're forecasting 102 as well. Friday, we should hold that heat steady, and so potentially that record is not on the line. But either way, it is definitely a hot week, and it's all because of this high pressure system. This heat dome is sitting on top of Texas for a number of days. And so with that, well, we see those temperatures slowly start to increase. Humidity is at play as well. So it's not just the air temperatures that we're tracking the heat index. That's why we're under a heat advisory today. Notice the high pressure system pushes out west as we head into the weekend, and that does provide an opening for some rain chances. They're going to be on the lower end though, so it's just a 20% right now for Saturday all the way through Monday, and most of this rain looks to actually filter in for the evening. So if you did have something outdoors for the morning or afternoon time frame, I don't think it's going to be much of an issue, though keep the umbrella handy in the back seat just in case you do see an isolated stray shower, but all in all shouldn't be a problem as far as accumulation is concerned. Notice average high temperature for this time of year should be 95. We are well above that already today and lasting through Friday. By the weekend, with those isolated rain chances and with a little bit more cloud cover, temperatures should scale back at least into the upper 90s. We'll take whatever we can get. Warmer than normal temperatures, that is a trend that is going to continue into the start of the coming month. Yes, we're going into August. This year's going by so fast. Notice this stronger heat is going to be out west where that heat dome is going to be parked. So if you had any travel planned, to Vegas, to Phoenix, to Palm Springs, those are some of the areas that could encounter some record-breaking heat of their own. Live look at Galveston. This is our saltwater recon camera, and we're scanning the beach. There's some good waves, 2 to 3 feet. Good waves for Galveston, of course. So maybe some surfers are headed out there. I see a little one that's about to get in the water. He's got the right idea because it is toasty, even for the island. It is 88 degrees, sunny skies, and it feels like 100. So it feels 12 degrees hotter than that, and it's all because of that breeze coming in out of the Gulf, south-southwest at 15 miles an hour. Now here's another vantage point from our Hotel Zaza camera. We could see the Med Center, we could see Horman Park, there's Mr. Houston. I don't know how he's bearing the heat all day long. There's some cloud cover, but not much. So trying to find the shade is something I'm sure lots of us are doing today. Right now it's 94 degrees, technically a degree less hot than this time yesterday, but it feels like the triple digits. Feels like 104 for the big airport. How about for Hobby? Feels like 103. Century Mark for Tomball feels like 104. In Sugar Land and Conroe feels like 105. I don't want to be in Liberty. That's where it feels like 107, and I definitely don't want to be in Livingston. That's where it feels like 111. Heat advisory for today was for the feels like up to 110, so some of us even surpassed that. This lasts until 7 o'clock. I'm waiting on the National Weather Service to issue another heat advisory for tomorrow. I'm almost certain it's going to happen. Live look outside. Sunset time is at 8:17. And that is when you want to come outside. When we see the coolest part of the day, early morning hours, 5 to 7 a.m., we will be in the mid to upper 70s for, again, just a short while. 76 in Katy, 75 is your morning low in Sugar Land. In downtown Houston, your morning low is 79 degrees. So what do we have on tap for your Wednesday? A very rapid warm-up. So we're already in the mid 80s by 9, upper 80s by 11 o'clock. As we transition into the early afternoon hours, we're in the 90s already, and maybe we even get into the actual air temperatures that are in the triple digits. If we do, we'll come close to the records. If we don't, we're still plenty hot because of the humidity. So very active when it comes to the heat story, but not very active when it comes to the tropics, which is great. We wouldn't want to be tracking that. Anyhow, notice over the next 7 days, no activity is expected. A good reason for that is the Saharan dust and the El Nino phase. So we are under an El Nino, which is favorable for the Atlantic basin, means less activity. Why? So typically in a regular hurricane season, there are trade winds that push from east to west, and they push the warm water that's over the equator towards Asia. Under an El Nino season, those trade winds weaken and that warm water actually stays over the equatorial region of the Pacific. And so with that warm water, that adds fuel for storms. Because the winds are weaker, the storms can continue to develop, and it has an inverse effect on what happens in the Atlantic basin. Our winds actually increase and makes it more difficult for storms to form. So because the Pacific has favorable development conditions, they have been seeing a pretty active season. So right now, we are tracking Hurricane Genevieve, still a major Cat 3 storm. Winds are sustained at 120, gusts are at 150. It's moving to the west-northwest at 9 miles an hour. No threat to the U.S. because it's moving out west. No threat because, well, it's not going to interact with any land, so it is a fish storm. Another system that we're also taking a look at is Tropical Storm Fausto. This one has 50-mile-an-hour winds. It gusts at 65. But you'll notice it is close to a landmass, and I bet you know what landmass that is. Yes, that is Hawaii. So we'll put a track on this. Notice it is expected to maintain its tropical storm force strength through about lunchtime on Wednesday. Then by late afternoon into the evening, it drops its status. So tropical storm force winds start at 39 miles an hour. So once it drops below that, it becomes a remnant low. And so it'll continue its trek as a remnant low and as a fish storm as we head into the latter part of the work week. But even though it is near Hawaii, it's actually pretty far away. I know perception-wise, it looks like there could be some impacts, but if I show you the actual distance, the impacts will be really minimal, if any. Notice the center of the storm is actually about 300 miles away, and some of these outer bands are anywhere between, about 150 to even 200 miles away. And so what that means is maybe a little extra cloud cover, maybe some isolated showers streaming in. But other than that, it would just be a rip current risk that folks would have to look out for in case you were planning to vacation in the Hawaiian Islands, or you have any relatives that are out there too. Back to our 7-day forecast and the local weather story. It is, yes, all about the heat. Notice the records that we will be tracking Wednesday through Friday will be near those or just slightly below. And then you'll notice as those rain chances come back into the picture, we will see a little more cloud cover and technically a little less heat, but it's still above average for this time of year. So it's going to feel hot regardless. If you had something penciled in outside, I do think you want to keep in mind hydration and breaks. You really need those. You need to take breaks in the shade and you need to take breaks in an air-conditioned space so your body doesn't overheat. That is no fun. So just keep those heat tips in mind, and I will see you back here for the news at 10.